Today on
Doomed!
I'm muted. Wonderful. I've been talking and I was muted. Isn't that amazing? Folks, I got vacation brain. I have vacation on my brain. Because I will be going on vacation shortly after this feed is over. Oh my god. It's all right. You just missed the intro. Let me redo it. My dad is texting me nonstop that I'm muted because obviously the feed is behind. But what am I supposed to do? Can't go back in time, folks. Can't go back in time. Oh my god. Let me pull a Musk. It was a DDoS attack. There was a denial of service attack. And I was stopped by my microphone specifically. There was a DDoS attack on my microphone specifically. And folks, people are saying, "Whoa!" I was trying to do a Trump voice, and I went to like some like old New York Jew voice. Folks, people. Nah, I'm not even gonna try the Trump, but folks, people. Now I'm losing my voice. Things are falling apart, folks. That's the show. Have a good night. I'll see you all next time on Doomed. Take care, everyone. All right, I took a drink. All right. My microphone is back after that DDoS attack. Uh, they're saying it was the most ever listened to Matt Binder live stream. And my microphone had never been reaching out to so many people. My mic overloaded. Here we go. All right, so let's get started. So Donald Trump and Elon Musk had their big interview on X, aka Twitter, via Spaces. The interview, well, there's a number of things in the interview we will touch on, but of course, it had its glitches and technical difficulties because such is life on Elon Musk's X. Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Binder, and the show is Doomed with Matt Binder. Let's jump right into things, all right? Everyone in the chat is now making me laugh with all their impressions via text, via live chat. All right. So, Elon Musk and Donald Trump had an interview on Monday, August 12th, via Musk's platform's live audio stream feature called Spaces. Now, I have some history with Spaces. You all might recall, like I personally do, you all might recall that when I was famously suspended by Elon Musk in the journalist crackdown of December 2022, um, an episode which landed me in Elon Musk's autobiography, I should say, biography. What do you want to call, whatever you want to call it, and forever on his Wikipedia page, apparently. I was suspended. And in using the platform, as they let you use it when you're suspended, there's like a read-only feature. I noticed that, hey, like I'm suspended, but it's still suggesting like Twitter Spaces to me. And there was a Twitter Space on the journalist suspensions. So I said, well, I'm not going around Twitter. I'm just using their features that they're providing to me. Let's see if I can enter this. And apparently, I discovered that there was a bug on Twitter Spaces that allowed suspended users to not only join, but also talk and interact and use it as normal. And after Musk and company discovered that I discovered this, they shut the entire Twitter Spaces feature down for a day or two, so they can close that loophole. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, you'll also recall, though, that just last year, Elon Musk had an interview with then presidential candidate Ron DeSantis. And it was supposed to be DeSantis' big announcement. He's running for president. It was supposed to be a big deal, and it was going to be done over Twitter Spaces. And of course, Twitter Spaces had technical difficulties, and the stream was massively delayed, and there was glitches, and it was all around panned as a major failure, and a failure to launch Ron DeSantis' campaign. So it should come as no surprise to everyone that when Elon Musk decided to host Donald Trump, there were issues. Now, this interview with Trump was planned and promoted for quite a few days. In fact, there was reports a couple months ago that X wanted to do town halls with the presidential candidates. So this was something that was in motion. And Musk had been tweeting about how they were doing stress tests on Twitter Spaces, X Spaces, whatever you want to call it. And he was doing like test streams to make sure it could handle everyone. And then 8 p.m. Eastern time, Monday, August 13th comes around. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are supposed to have a conversation over X Spaces. Well, Trump started early. He started around 7:45, giving everyone 15 minutes to jump in the chat. Hell, that's better planning and scheduling than I have weekly for this stream. But the second people started joining in the spaces, the platform started to have troubles. I personally was outside at the time. I was out. I was walking across a bridge, and I tried to access it. And I was immediately shown a message that said this space is not available when I tried to enter. But it showed that there was a live Donald Trump, Elon Musk space going on. and it showed that there was like maybe like 300, 400,000 people in the space. And people couldn't enter it, and people who were in it, people who were in the space, were just stuck listening to elevator music. Literally, it was elevator music, like waiting room music, because they couldn't start it. And then eventually that waiting room music turned into complete silence. And about 50, what was it? 54 minutes, a little bit over 54 minutes after it was supposed to start. I'm unheard of on this show. We would never start 54 minutes late. But but also I'm not a presidential candidate and a billionaire who owns the platform that's doing the interview and hosting the interview. But anyway, about 54 minutes after the space was set to begin, Trump and Musk finally were able to start things. And according to Musk, he claimed that there was a massive DDoS, that's denial of service attack, on X. And that's why they had issues. Now, in the most basic form explanation possible, a DDoS attack is basically when, a bad actor, someone who is a general attacker, which wants to take down your service or platform, just sends like mass traffic, like fake traffic, obviously, to your server in hopes of just bringing it down because you can't handle the influx of traffic. Now, I should note that the rest of the platform worked. Like, I didn't see any of the reports. I was able to tweet. I mean, I was tweeting the screenshots of the Twitter space being down. People were talking on Twitter. The platform worked. I don't know if other spaces were affected, but I didn't see anyone saying they couldn't listen to other spaces. So I don't think it was a DDoS attack. Because if it was a DDoS attack, there would have been issues across the platform. Like, an attacker can't just be like, I'm going to take down this one feature on the website. Like, this one stream on YouTube. I'm just going to attack Matt's stream on YouTube. Just one stream on YouTube. That's not how it works. It would take down the platform as a whole or larger sections of the platform. So, I don't have any proof it wasn't. Well, other than the fact that The Verge, the tech outlet The Verge, they had sources at ex-employees, reach out to them after Musk had claimed there was a DDoS attack. And the source at X, The Verge's source at X, confirmed that there wasn't actually a denial of service attack. A completely separate ex-employee, so there's two. Someone else. So we have one person who said, I confirm there wasn't a DDoS attack. And then you have a second staffer who reaches out to The Verge who says, 99% sure that Musk was lying about the attack. That's their words. So the denial of service attack that may or may not have been is the reason for the notoriously weak Twitter space going down for 54 minutes between Trump and Musk. Now, we'll listen to a bit of it, obviously. We'll listen to a bit of it. But I want to note this other portion. So, you know what? Let's play it because Trump brings it up, I think, early on. So let's play a bit of it. Let me pull it up on my feed. All right, here we go. Hold on, I'm queuing it up.
We could start off with voters the conversation
Let me refresh because it's not going to the exact part in the timeline where it starts. All right, here we go.
All right, hello everyone. My apologies for the late start. We unfortunately had a massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say.
There's a conspiracy afoot.
But I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. And this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who just trying to make up their mind. So you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation. So honored to Donald, great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people. And it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices.
All right, so he brings it up and he congratulates Musk for breaking every record in the book. Now, there's something funny here. So, and I don't know if we'll get to this part. This is like a over 2-hour space. We'll listen to a chunk of it. The first, like maybe let's say 45 minutes, maybe a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't think we're getting through the whole 2 hours. It gets into the normal Donald Trump stump speech territory at a point. But what? All right. Shut off notifications on my on my device. All right. So Trump later on brings up that there were like 63 million people listening. And I'm like, and everyone else, I'm sure, is like, what the fuck is he talking about? That's not 63 million people listening. The most concurrent viewers, according to X, who already has wonky stats to begin with, was 1.4 million. And as you can see in the window on my screen showing the Trump space, 27 million in total tuned in. That's live and counting now almost a full 24 hours of the replay. I mean, listen, that's nothing to scoff at. Now, again, it counts anyone who hits the play button, but that's a lot of people at least actively showing at least interest enough to hit the play button. Whether they listen to 2 seconds or 2 hours, that's another question. But I'll give them the 27 million number because when you hear what they're trying to flaunt, it gets even crazier. So Musk's 63 million that he pulled out of his ass was actually not pulled out of his ass. He was looking at, as you can see, right below the space under the proposed community note card. It says 239.8 million views. Now, at the time, Trump saw 63 million views on the post, and that's what he was saying, breaking every record, 63 million views. That would be ridiculous. As of right now, um, according to X, more than the number of people who vote in U.S. elections have viewed this space. Now, that view number, we've spoken about the post view count metric dozens of times on this show. The 239.8 million view count is impressions. It's not views, as in someone clicking on this page to pull up the post page. It's not anything of the sort. I don't even know what else to say. It's impressions, which means every time Donald Trump's post, again, Donald Trump has 89.2 million followers. And remember, Elon Musk, who has 100 something million, 160 something million, I think, he shared this too. It means anytime this post showed up on an account's feed, boom, add a view. If you're opening up the app on your phone and you're scrolling by and the recommended for you page tweet is the Donald Trump tweet, but you just kept scrolling by, that counts as a view. So the post appeared before 239.8, not even accounts, because it counts multiple times. So it showed up 239.8 million times on feeds, regardless of whether the person wanted to see it or not. So that's the view count metric. Now, it would be insane enough for them to claim 239.8 million views on the space, right? That'd be insanity. Well, they're not claiming that. Did cooler heads prevail, or Trump and Musk, dealing in reality and at least going by the still very propped up but way more conservative number of 27 million who actually clicked play on the space at some point? Well, of course not. 27 million is not enough, and apparently neither is 239 million. Musk Musk posted today. Hold on, let me pull it up on the screen so you can see this, because it is honestly one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Musk posts today. Combined views of the conversation with real Donald Trump and subsequent discussion by other accounts, now 1 billion. Oh my god. And he's actually quoting the official X count, which said between 7:47 p.m. and 10:47 p.m., President Donald Trump's space post, realized how they make that clarification there, received 73 million views. During the same period, there were 4 million posts about Elon Musk and President Donald Trump's conversation on X, generating a total of 998 million views. That's just not how metrics are calculated. I'm sorry, that's just not how you do it. It's not how you do it. And I mean, there's a good reason why they run with that. It's because Musk's fans run with it. Like they run with it. They believe that that's accurate. And this guy believes it's accurate too, who went to Truth Social. I'm talking about Donald Trump and screenshotted the Musk screenshot I just showed you. And Donald Trump says an all-time record. Again, because he is claiming that 1 billion people listen to him and Musk talk. An all-time record, Trump says, but the media refuses to write about it because they are fake news. No one is writing about it. Well, I am. I'm talking about it, and I wrote about it earlier. But no one is calling it record-breaking because it's not breaking shit. There's no they didn't break any records. It's ludicrous. Ludicrous. He thinks 1 billion people listen to him talk. What's it at now? Did it exceed the number of human beings on the planet Earth? Are extraterrestrials listening in on the Donald Trump, Elon Musk interview on X? Are we at 5 billion unique views? 5 billion unique listens on X. All right, let's get back to listening.
Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And
Yeah.
so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you.
And he says
Well,
thank you. He says thank you. Breaking every record in the book. Trump says to Musk, congratulations. And Musk says, thank you.
maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. Um, you, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, um, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, I mean, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that
Ooh,
is
wow.
America. That is strength under fire.
Thank you.
And so that's a big a part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant, I
It's
have to
not
be honest.
pleasant.
I said there was
Yeah.
blood. I had
Being
more
shot is
blood.
not
I didn't
much
know
fun.
I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me
How
that the ear
does
is a
Trump say
place that
blood?
is a
There was
very bloody
blood,
place. It's you're
blood
going to get hit.
everywhere. Didn't know there was
But
that much
in this case, it
blood.
was probably the best alternative you could even think about because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation, and I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear,
Yeah.
and because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, "Bullets, bullets!" Get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly, and we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was
Yeah.
for those
Split
people that
second.
don't believe in God. I think yeah, we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually.
Felt like Trump was going to accidentally admit that that was the moment he started believing, and he had to save face there. I mean, you could read it that way. He didn't exactly say that, but it felt like he was going that direction before he stopped himself there.
But it was
That would have been
amazing that
a
I happened to be
whoopsie.
turned just at that perfect
Yeah.
angle. and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart
I
even
mean,
more
maybe it's
now
a
than I ever.
sign. Maybe
Yeah,
that's a
it's
sign, you know.
it's an immigration sign.
You
But
highlighted a serious issue, and
yeah,
at that moment,
that's right.
the bullet missed your, hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
Well,
you know,
the
yeah,
amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration, and it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good, and after that it was going to
yeah,
be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was
yeah,
exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey,
yeah,
who, a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, "I'd like to give the family some kind of help." And I said, "All right, that's great." He said, "Do you mind?" I said, "I don't mind at all." And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife, and you know,
That was I didn't catch that the first time. Again, I was walking across a bridge when I was listening to this. A friend of mine came over and said he wanted to help the family, and I said that's great. I mean, Donald Trump could also do something similar, but apparently he was just like That's great. You do it.
she said, "This is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back," which is a nice thing for
sure,
somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great, and we raised a lot of
yeah,
money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people. Also, they were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them
yeah,
equally. And we thought
yeah,
my first question was because I heard bullets flying over me, and I said, "How many people were killed?" Because we had a massive crowd there, a tremendous
yeah,
thousands and thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean, it was all people. So I said, "How many people have been killed?" Because I knew there were other shots being fired,
sure,
and they said, "We don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt." And I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper,
yeah,
because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a
I'm
problem, and
gonna.
he was able to pick it all out
It's
within five
interesting that
seconds. And
he's
he used one
propping up the
bullet from
Secret Service
very
as
far
his
away, I guess
followers were
probably
attacking
about
them.
400 yards.
And
The
Musk
shooter
goes for
was
that too, and
130,
Trump's not having
but
it
he was
really.
on the
Why wait for
yeah,
him?
he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium, and he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from very far away. And if he didn't do
yeah,
that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot of people, a lot more people could have been
sure,
badly hurt and killed. So
yeah,
I have to
absolutely,
take my hat off to him because that's also a surreal. You know, he's been with them for 23 years, and
yeah,
he's never had anything like this, and all of a sudden he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to
sure,
act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun very far away. I obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which assume you have
yeah,
to have in that particular work. But he took
absolutely,
aim very quickly, and they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range,
yeah,
one bullet. If that didn't happen,
yeah,
because the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges up
sure.
there with him, so
We
it
gotta
would
Well,
have been
speed. Let's
great.
speed this up.
that's clearly he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination.
All right, I gotta get
But I mean,
past the
there does seem to be I
assassination
mean
thing.
some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like there's just no way that like how on earth does a
Oh my
shooter get
god,
on a
hearing
roof
Musk talk like
130?
that.
Too. You heard, but
Yeah, but
he
as you
Let's
got
said,
me.
fast
he
But
would
it
forward.
have
could have
hit.
been.
I
It
mean,
could have been.
They're still
yeah,
on
but
it.
as for it is not. It's not a rehearsed action, and so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there,
Oh
and
Well,
yeah,
some
yeah. He
Corey
played up.
killed, and the other two, the families are Corey killed.
down illegal immigration
Oh,
and
here we
especially
go.
unvetted illegal
Yes.
immigration because and that's not the same.
It's interesting how they spoke about that for the assassination attempt for like what, almost 30 minutes it looks like. but there really wasn't nothing said. And that's because, like, it's gotta kill them that that happened and they can't use it to their benefit politically. Like, if that's gonna happen, you're gonna pounce on it and take advantage of it, right? But they can't. They can't do it because the guy, the shooter, everything we know about him pegs him as a right winger who's just looking to go out doing something that was gonna make himself infamous. All of his school classmates who knew him, all his neighbors talk about how he was a right wing gun guy. You gonna blame woke for that? You gonna blame woke for that? It's so what you get is this absolutely uh juiceless performance here. You don't got the juice here. There's nothing to squeeze out of it. So they just got to talk about it as like this is a historical event that happened and I was there. It happened to me. So here is my very dry, straight up telling of it.
Same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately
100%.
represent your position?
I say it
Okay.
very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked
Yeah.
because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's
Yeah.
saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. Uh, no tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and
No, they weren't. But
caddies and all of
well, hold on. I should have paused there, but it's really funny. Trump thinks service industry, right? He thinks like industries where you get tips, right? And what are the first two things that come to his mind? A waitress, which is fine. I think that's a perfect example of someone who works a job that gets tips. Everyone goes to a restaurant at some point, whether you're normal, you eat out normally, regularly, or a once a month thing, like a dinner or whatever. Everyone goes out and is, receives the services of a waiter or waitress and gives a tip to them. But the second thing he that comes to his mind is a fucking caddy. Dude's got golf on his mind. How many are you when you think of the service industry? A caddy comes to mind right away. I mean, come on.
this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible, and I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had I believe, and I think you believe this too. You hear 12
Yeah.
million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country.
Now, a lot of people in the chat and at the time, you're hearing people talk about it. Like Trump's got this weird like Daffy Duck like lisp going on. And at first I thought it was the audio, like the glitchy like spaces, like bit rate, like processing the audio, and it's got that like that digital noise behind it. But the more I listen to it, there's something going on there. Now, someone I know said that perhaps has dentures. Excuse me, he has dentures and he wasn't wearing them. But The Trump campaign released a video of him talking on the phone to do the Twitter Space at like his dining room table or whatever. And if Trump knew he was on camera, he wouldn't be, showing up without dentures if he even wears them, has them. I don't know, but he definitely has some sort of thing going on there. Was he tired? Did he get dental work done? Did he take something that some sort of medication that something was going on there. I'm not. I'm just throwing random things out because that's what I've seen people talk about. I'm not going to personally speculate. I don't think it was anything nefarious. I don't think it was anything to run with. There's just a random live stream, uh, you know, uh, deviation from the pot from what we're talking about. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or
And there he goes again with the mental institutions thing. This dude definitely thinks that when he hears someone say that someone is coming here to claim asylum or for political asylum, this dude definitely hears asylum and thinks insane asylum. Without a doubt in my mind. This is where his his um his Hannibal Lecter rant that has become part of the stump speech. That's where that comes from. Like there's no I've never heard this. This has not been a right-wing talking point. The crime thing, yes. They're saying they're criminals from prisons or whatever. But the insane asylum, the mental asylum, the whatever he's to the term he's using, that's just not a thing. He's hearing asylum seekers and he's thinking they came from an insane asylum. Without a doubt in my mind.
a bigger version of that is
Yeah.
insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're
Yeah.
coming from
One immigrant that came from Africa that's in the US. It's the guy you're talking to, Elon Musk. Send him back. That's one immigrant I'm for deporting.
the Middle East. They're coming from countries that are uh, stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you look at it's so sad October 7th because it should have never happened.
Yeah.
It's so sad when
Sure.
you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective
Yeah.
government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they
Yeah.
won't do anything. It's all talk. She's
No.
incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a
Correct.
secure border. And
And
uh,
secure elections,
you
too.
know, yeah, absolutely secure elections, and so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities, um, and as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant,
Oh yeah.
and I think I mean, like one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? Um, who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are gonna, be great contributors to our society and to our economy,
Right.
and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. Um,
Oh.
but some are not, and
So
and you just
so
have
let's get
this
this straight.
sort of
Okay. So then what's your whole deal then? What's your whole deal then? You wanna because those good hardworking immigrants that you've deemed exist, they will a number of them in a mass deportation, quite a few of them will be deported. So what do you want? I mean, listen, you could argue that there should be a easier route to get here. I agree with that. But like the mass the majority, that's the word I'm looking for. The majority of immigrants who come here are coming here legally. They come here and they claim asylum. That is a legal process. You must first enter the country to claim it. So they must enter the country, claim it, and there is now a legal process. This is part of our laws. This is part of how the country works. I mean,
adverse selection process where if somebody's if somebody's like you know has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're such a target rich environment. um, I mean, why aren't more people who have a career in bad things coming here sooner? Because I mean, it's a piece of cake to go rob, houses in LA or New York, compared to other parts of the world. And, in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing.
this is an incredible part of this interview here. And I'm actually kind of shocked. It's possible I'm just missing it, but I've seen the viral pieces from this being talked about. I don't think I've come across anyone talking about this section of this conversation. And this is, to me, perhaps the most incredible part of this whole thing that I've come across. Musk here is lamenting that crime isn't higher, and his again, we're supposed the whole the right wing Silicon Valley tech guy, anti San Francisco thing is that crime is running rampant all over the place. Crime is just everywhere. And here's Musk saying, I'm in shock there isn't more crime. Crime is too low. It should be even higher. And he's then also shooting himself in the foot by wondering why criminals, more criminals from other countries, aren't illegally migrating to the US. I mean, this just gives up the whole game right here, doesn't it? He's whining that there's not more illegal immigrant, his terms. There's not more illegal immigration happening with more criminals that are creating to create more crime in the US. This is the perfect example of the right making something up and getting angry about it. And here you have Musk doing that to the point where he is now getting angry that his reality doesn't exist. And he's getting angry at these non existent criminals for not coming here and making crime higher. This is incredible stuff, honestly.
you, you'll be arrested.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's insane.
It's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I
They're
hate
not.
to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it, but you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're
I
allowing
think you're
again.
right.
They're
Yeah.
allowing people from their jails, and if you were running one of these
Again,
countries,
that little thing. The crime. It's got to be a lot higher, right? Yep. Yep. It's got to be way more criminals. Right. 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 Yeah. It's got to be. We're undercounting because our feelings aren't being represented in the stats. So the stats must be wrong.
where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers, they're taking, frankly, their prisoners, they're emptying out their prisons, they're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and
Oh.
they're
Yeah.
delivering them into
But
the.
that's what Castro did
Yeah,
that.
well, he did on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
You know, it was a much smaller
Yeah.
scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. You know, this is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be.
Yeah.
And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the
It's
shelters
always good to pull
and
out very
Sure.
started
specific
pulling out the
incidents.
knives, and bad things happen today. But this is happening every day. These are
Is
rough
it?
people. These are people that are in jail for
Yeah.
murder and all sorts of things, and they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you, we're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people, and it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because now she's trying to say she
Sure.
had nothing to do with it, and she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went.
They were on the headlines, very right wing outlet, because there is no border czar. That's not a term that the White House, the administration gave her. You guys called her the border czar, and now you're claiming that's the headlines because you guys called her that in the headlines. There's no border czar term on. You wanna say that she has some responsibilities as part of the administration that include the border. Okay, but she's not in charge of the border. She's not the border czar.
Went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I
Right.
guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
had nothing to do where the problem
Yeah.
is. But she was
Well.
the
Well.
border czar, and the people
Yeah. Yeah.
can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known
Yeah.
what happened. You could shut the border down, he
Yeah.
wouldn't even know the difference. But uh, the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her
Yes.
that, the fact is you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst
Right.
ever.
It's simply not working.
No,
It's
it's
I mean
horrible.
whether it's a question of intention or competence. Either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly.
These
So
these are
people
people.
can look at my video and say, hey,
Yeah,
does these people look friendly? I don't look super friendly. So
these are people that
um,
Elon would not.
What the fuck? Truly, what the fuck? Like, yeah, I remember Musk going down there and doing his photo shoots at the border, and I remember he recorded it or whatever. Imagine you're someone from Central America making the trek here for a better life to escape whatever you're trying to escape from your, uh, your country of origin, and the fucking richest man on the planet is recording you to mock you, to make you a spectacle at your lowest of lows. But that part aside, I'm actually saying what the fuck to I wanna play this again. Give me Let's just rewind it just a little bit.
Trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is where they raped the girlfriend of a man. No, it's
I mean,
horrible.
whether it's by
No,
it's
it's
I mean,
horrible.
doing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly. So
These are
people
people.
can look at my video and say, hey,
Yeah,
does these people look friendly? I don't look super friendly. So
these are people that
um,
Elon.
Do these people look friendly? They don't look super friendly. I don't know what his accent was there, but what the fuck is this guy talking about? How does someone look friendly? How does someone look like a criminal? So Elon Musk's immigration plan is to base who's worthy of coming into this country based on their looks. I mean, yeah, we know. Because we know what the code is here. What makes them not look friendly? That's my What is it about them that made them not look friendly? I mean, they were probably really sweaty and tired. Probably weren't didn't have big old smiles on their face as they're making the trek. But what about them didn't look friendly? That you're going to peg them as criminals who shouldn't come to this country based on how they look friendly wise. What a horrible thing to say. But judging these people by whether they looked friendly while they're crossing the border and making that trek. What a buffoon, honestly.
Would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people
What
coming
about
across.
them?
And I know rough people. And these are people
Mm.
that we don't want in our country. And the caravans are coming in and they're putting and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing
yeah,
it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them, but these are people that are non-productive. They are just not productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not
yeah.
workers or they don't want to work or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases, and they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are
Yeah,
really brutal people. And they're coming into our country
yeah,
at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years,
yeah. No, no.
we have 20 million people
This I
poured
think is
in. It's a terrible
yeah. I
thing.
think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the
I don't
United
even know where to
States.
stop at this point. I think
And
I
if we
hit
have another four
the
more
ones that I remember
years
I wanted to talk about.
of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years. It's going to be even worse than it's been for the past 3.5 years.
Let's speed it up and see what
I'm
they
not sure
talk
we got
about
a country
You don't
next.
have a
left
country
at that
left.
point.
Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. We think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, the four. But it's not that. It's
The four.
everywhere. They're coming in from
Yeah,
everywhere. And I had to stay in
yeah, I think
Mexico.
this is a
The
super important
Fantastic
point. Like
Four.
people, it's like well, basically when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico. To
No,
be clear,
Mexico less less
it's
of
just the
the
border. It's just the border with Mexico. But the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is only about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything in the
We're
U.S.
already
So
overwhelmed, Elon.
No,
We're
we're
overwhelmed.
not. What the fuck
You
is
had to
this
see the
talking
news
about?
tonight about New York. New York, and I love that place, and what they're
I live
doing
in New
to it
York.
is
New York is
horrible, what
fine.
they're doing to it. And all the courts
What
do
are
is
they
they
doing
yeah,
try
to
and
New
focus on
York?
Trump. Okay, then let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon,
Oh,
what's happened is unbelievable. You have from
did nothing
Africa,
wrong but
from
complain
the
about a
Congo,
rigged
they're coming from the
election.
Congo, and 22
No
people came
pushback
in
from
from the
Musk.
Congo recently, and they're murderers, and they're dropped. They drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails. Although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, "Don't ever come back, or you're going to be executed." And they don't want to come back, but they won't come back.
sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South
Well,
America.
just
They're
Earth,
coming from
rest of Earth,
everywhere.
basically.
And there are a lot of
Yeah,
really
everywhere on
bad
Earth.
ones.
It's just a it's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb everyone from Earth, or even a few percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible.
Well,
So
Elon, we're going to have
that's
just to
yeah,
finish this up. We're going to have the largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it, with in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
tell you what. Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% uh, put into the United States. Same with other countries. Some
sure,
are 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different.
All
But
right,
the bottom
we don't
line
gotta
is
listen
they're all going
anymore
to
to
be at
this.
100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it?
yeah,
And they're
Let me
doing
get
it
the
right
phones ready.
now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget,
Hmm.
I beat Biden. He
You
failed
did?
in the debate
Oh,
miserably. And,
right in the
some
debate.
people
Oh,
said, "Oh,
okay,
gee, it's
I'll
too
give you
bad.
that.
It's too bad he did so badly," or "I did well in the
You
debate."
beat Biden
The
in
first
the
night they
debate,
said,
right? But when it
"Wow."
mattered
One
during
of
the
the people
election
at
in
CNN said that
2020,
was the
you
greatest debate
lost.
performance I've ever
Just
witnessed.
making
And
sure you
then
know.
2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this: we cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a
it's
different. Look,
yeah.
she hasn't done an
I mean,
interview since this
yeah,
whole scam started.
well,
And say what you want. This
yeah,
was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice
yeah.
way or we can do it the
No,
hard way.
That
yeah.
is
Not.
what
I mean,
apparently
they just took
Nancy
him out
Pelosi
back
said.
behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did
Biden.
with this guy,
So
and I'm no
yeah.
fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
Well,
And we
The
wouldn't have had
Afghanistan
yeah.
mess.
Afghanistan. But we think of it,
Well, yeah.
You mean
you
because you were
take a
too
few of
chicken
those
to
events
pull
away,
out of
and we have a different
Afghanistan?
world. We would also have
No,
no
no. You're yeah.
inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah, no, no. I think you're making an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are, are thinking about
That's
invading
pretty
or doing
funny.
bad things,
Musk
when they're
is
thinking
just
about that,
lost
they're
in
thinking
all the
about, okay,
things that
what's
Trump
the
is bringing
American
up.
president going to do, and do they fear the American president, or is it someone they do not respect or and do not fear? And I think they would they rightfully be. I mean, look at the footage of the assassination. They're like, okay, you know, uh, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's
Oh,
like, whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of
oh,
that in the
interesting.
context of global security.
Hmm.
That if the American president is someone that like evil dictators are scared of, that makes a
Oh
huge
my
difference
God.
to the security.
Baby brains. Seriously, baby brains. World leaders are going to be afraid of Trump because he got shot in the earlobe or the ear where is ear cartilage or whatever. What? Because Trump got up and went, fight, fight? What? Children. Children. They're going to be afraid of Trump because of that. Literal children talking here about things they don't even know about. And it's the president, former president of the United States, current Republican nominee, and the world's richest man. Baby brains. World leaders are going. I got to just hear if he says anything else about
Of the
this.
world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the
Okay, we can end it there. All right, there's another, Jesus Christ, hour and a half of this. Again, Trump just gets into like the stump speech mode. What are the other topics they even bring up? Let me see if I can at least pull up the other topics. It's got to be somewhere without actually having to listen. All right, let's see. They get into inflation, okay. Climate change, oh boy. I wish we could get to that, but that's going to be a while. NATO, wonderful. What is this, Joe Biden's interview? Excessive regulation. Oh, I want to hear that one, actually. But we just can't. I just don't have it's already 10:30. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm about to go on vacation. I got a plane to catch in the morning. I will play this though. Let me get this. I'm gonna play this. It's from a different part of their conversation, and it was clips. That's why I'm able to get to it. But the UAW, the union UAW, is. Let me read the exact statement from them. The UAW has filed federal labor charges against disgraced billionaires Donald Trump and Elon Musk for their illegal attempts to threaten and intimidate workers who stand up for themselves by engaging in protected, concerted activities such as strikes. And that came out of this space. Let me play the clip. Where is it? It is. All right, here we go. Ready?
this cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, "You want to quit?" They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, "That's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone." So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But if you look at Argent, this cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk.
So basically, Trump brings up that he's not going to name the company, and there could speculate what he's talking about, and that workers are going to go on strike, and that you just fire them, and that he respects that about Musk. And Musk chuckles and says, "Yeah." So they're getting there's a labor complaint filed against them. Let's see what happens there. All right. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I'm not going to go to the second half because, we only got, let's say, another 45 minutes to go here. Let's take calls, and I'll read super chats as well. So before I take calls, folks, if you could support this show, patreon.com/MattBinder to support the show with a monthly subscription, patreon.com/MattBinder. Support greatly helpful in growing the stream, the podcast, the show all together. Everything I do, really. YouTube.com/MattBinder. Subscribe to the channel there. You can drop a super chat. I will read your super chats as they come in. Twitch.tv/MattBinder. And you could support me there if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, because you get a free Twitch Prime subscription as a result of your Amazon Prime subscription. And you basically force Amazon to pay me without any extra cost to you. So that's twitch.tv/MattBinder. Connect your Amazon account to your Twitch account and give away that Twitch Prime subscription that you get for free. What else? That's it for now. I think this is the last chance, at least the last time I'll be streaming, where this is still a reward on Twitch. Twitch is giving away 3 free months of Apple TV Plus to anyone who subscribes to a creator on Twitch. So if you're thinking about subscribing and haven't yet, go to twitch.tv/MattBinder, subscribe, and you get a free Apple TV Plus subscription for 3 months. It's not an ad. I didn't get paid for it. I'm just sharing what I think some people might be interested in doing. If you're going to give me money anyway, you might as well get the free 3 months out of Apple TV Plus and Amazon. All right, the number to call in, where did I just do with my phone line thing? Here it is. 646-303-7337. 646-303-7337. 646-303-7337. Kowalski with a super sticker. Thank you, Kowalski, for the super sticker. How nice. Musical Mice with a $5 super chat. Thanks, Matt. Get here 20 minutes late. Spend 5 more trying to fix settings. Enjoy the vacay. Thank you, Musical Mice. Oh, and let's go to the phones. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, is this the commie bastard, Matt Binder?
This is. Who's this?
I am calling from the Casa Rosada in Buenos Aires. This is Presidente Michel of the former country called Argentina, now called Everything Must Go.
Pretty good. Not for you, Malay, but
yes, I'm very proud that these 2 gentlemen, these 2 bigots, have mentioned me as like the ultra, as what they aspire to be.
Right. So what's going on
I feel
over there?
Very proud
I hear inflation. I hear inflation's through the roof. I'm hearing people in Argentina are
no, it's restructuring. It's like when you have termites.
What?
Termites being the people that live there.
Ooh, these are your people. What are you talking about?
Well, basically, capitalists are my people. Also, I must commend you for your new haircut. It seems like you're trying to be me. Are you copying my hairstyle?
This is not your haircut at all, sir. What are you talking about? Your hair is big and bushy.
I can see it like this.
I would say my hair used to look more like yours, actually, but not anymore.
I can see that there's a certain like disheveled style.
Well, that's me usually,
like,
sir.
Like your father, like the Rolling Stones and all that. It's part of the anarcho-capitalism to go against the rules of the barbers.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it.
Thank you for announcing me and publicizing my stupendous government.
Well, there you go. You've been doing a great job over there. A killer job, one may say. Elon Musk, I remember when you first got elected, said, prepare for prosperity in Argentina. And I'm sure the people are feeling really prosperous right now. And we lost them. All right, let's go back to the phones. I'm going to take the next call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Chris from Northern Virginia.
Hey, Chris. How are you? What would you like to talk about?
I'm well. Nothing in particular, but kind of like third-party candidates and stuff like that. Um, I hear a lot of people talking about spoiler candidate, and I just think that people should lose that terminology in general because it's a failure to make a systemic analysis, and it lays the blame on candidates who, not all of, but at least the third party candidates that I would support have good platforms that I tend to agree with more so than, the Democratic candidate. And the problem is with the system, the lack of ranked choice voting, the Electoral College, Citizens United, any number of things that are systemic problems that are not created by, introduced by, or any way a part of what the candidate themselves is trying to do.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't use the term spoiler candidate. It's third party candidates. That's how I usually reference them, or independent candidates, if that's what they are. Um, I don't think that the people who vote for those candidates necessarily would have voted for a Republican or a Democrat if they vote for the third party candidate. So there's no vote. There's no vote being spoiled.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And the
I don't
data
know.
shows that as well. The data
Right.
shows that third party candidates tend to activate new voters more so. I'm like, obviously they take away some amount, but most of them are activating new
Right.
or,
I
not
mean,
likely voters.
I don't have a problem with someone trying to convince someone who's planning to vote third party to vote for Democrat or Republican, as long as they aren't like voter shaming, like a legitimate like attempt to pull that voter to their side. I think that's fine. Because
Yeah,
I
I'm
do
all for
think,
that.
yeah, and I do think there are people who make that jump because I do think that there are people who aren't that ideologically driven who a third party candidate could look alluring to someone who's in the same way that someone who pays a lot of attention to politics could be drawn to a third party candidate because they've read into them and have very specific positions that align with the third party candidate. I also think that people who aren't that engaged can find themselves, being allured by find the a third party candidate alluring, I should say, simply because they're someone different. Um, I don't think that makes them a spoiler.
Yeah. And then with that, like I agree. So people go out and they stump the polls for candidates, whether third party candidates, independent candidates, or one of the Democrat or Republican, right? And I think a lot of people give hate to people who are proselytizing, if for lack of a better word, third party candidates, and they're like, but that's the same thing that Democratic candidates have pay people to go do all the time too, and like I think that a lot of people take the whole voter shaming thing. Like, one, I mean, I'm not for voter shaming. I'm also not necessarily against it. I think like your shame is on you. Like, I'll state my case, and if my case brings you shame, that's not me shaming you. I think,
Well, no,
some of the people that,
I don't call that voter shaming. I call like for me, voter shaming is someone who's like, how could you, like, instead of selling your candidate, you just put down the other candidate without even trying to convince anyone on your candidate. It's just about attacking the individual due to their support for someone and in order to get them to your side, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. If you're going to get someone to your side, you want to convince them.
well, I think like you shouldn't attack the person that you're trying to convince to vote, but there's nothing wrong with me saying I don't want you to vote for so and so because this is their policy that I disagree with and this policy is wrong, right? And if you agree that that policy is wrong, but you're like, but I'm still going to vote for them for these strategic reasons, okay, it's your vote. You get to choose how you vote, but that's not me shaming you. That's me saying, hey, this policy is wrong. You know what I
Right.
mean?
No, I think, it's that's not exact. That's not at all what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of. when I say
I think a lot
voter.
of people
Yeah.
overuse voter shaming. Like, sure, it happens, but I think a lot of people overuse it to say, "Well, you're voter shaming me if you say I'm voting for somebody who supports genocide." Well, I mean, is that what you're doing? Like, at least admit that that's what you're doing, and then add, "Hey, this is why I'm doing it." You know what I mean? Like, and that's okay. That's okay.
Right.
Just
Right.
be honest about what you're doing.
Right. No,
I also
absolutely.
think a lot of people are on this kick of, oh, the third parties, they need to invest in downstream ballot more and not
Well,
run
they do.
national candidates.
They do. I don't like if they want to run national candidates. That's on them. But they can't complain when they lose all the time because part of the reason why they lose all the time is because there's no down ballot candidates to build from. Like
I
it's
think a lot of the people that say these things have never worked on a campaign, much less a third party campaign. Because, like, I mean, I'll get these arguments and they're saying, well, why don't you use the money that you're using on Jill Stein and you can run 5, state congressional races? We don't get that money for anything but the national platform. Like, that's FEC rules, right? Like, it's based on the national platform that we got donations to the national campaign. And
well,
then
that's because
there are,
that's
what I'm
partially
saying is that
because they really don't spend much time on down ballot. Like they obviously they wouldn't get as much, but there still would be there is still some sort of support there. Like if you have a
there's
million or
only
so people voting for you, then you're telling me you can't pull a percentage of those million plus people to donate to down ballot campaigns. I mean, if that's the case, then there's something wrong
well,
with
those
your
million or so
institution.
people are spread out throughout the country. So, like, maybe you have 5,000 over here and 200 over here, right? It's
People
not the
donate
same.
people donate to campaigns outside of their state, outside of their district. That's if you believe in a candidate, you donate. I mean, that's not really an excuse, honestly, to me. Um, if you look at how Democratic or Republican campaigns work, a lot of the support to national campaigns comes from down ballot, comes from the state representatives. Even I mean, talking about Congress, I'm talking about like state representatives
No,
at
I
the
get that.
rallies, like, and without that you're leaving a huge part of campaigning out of it. Like there's a reason why these parties have literal mini campaigns in each state, and then even you can even go further down the line of there's the state campaign for that national part for the national election, but then you also have with the state campaign you have a campaign dealing with this district and this neighborhood and that community. I mean, without that, you are really fighting an uphill battle, and that's why I think third parties do themselves a disservice by just appearing every 40 years for the main event without
I think
really spending
third parties
time down ballot.
are active. Third parties are active in local politics, maybe not everywhere, right? But there are Green Party elected officials in, here and there throughout the country. The thing is that I think people underestimate just how big the United States is, how sprawling it is, right? Because essentially you have, blue strongholds, usually cities that it's very hard to get into those local politics. Like people that think that like the Green Party just needs to go to San Francisco, needs to look at San Francisco politics and question why it's so conservative in the bluest cities, New York City as well. It's because like once you have that sort of uniparty, like a almost true uniparty in that city, you already control it. You're not really fighting anyone else. And Green Party can come in, has come in, and gets defeated because it's just fighting a war on all fronts. It's actually easier for third parties often in more split locations, places that aren't, strongly red or blue. And I think that the difficulty in obtaining those local seats doesn't turn over the way that people think or want or hope or, imagine that it would. And that just becomes a different black hole for resources. Without the national campaign, that dwindles up even faster because in the same way that the national campaign received support from down ballot. The down ballot also received support from the national campaign. Like, that's why people were afraid that Biden's failure was going to hurt down ballot politicians, because if people didn't come out to vote for Biden, that would have just voted straight blue down the line, right? Just tick that off. Then that's going to hurt down ballot campaigns. The same thing happens for third parties. It's just not as expressed because of how few third party local elections are happening each year, and how little support that goes to third parties in general.
Yeah, I mean, I see generally what you're saying, but I think
a lot of people are complaining from the outside at, like, so I have, like, my thing is, you're not upset with what they want. You agree with them on their analysis of the two-party systems and the failures they see in it. You're not really, I mean, you might have some problems with their platform, but in general, you don't have like stark problems with their platform when compared to the platform of your own party. You're just like, but the way you're doing it is wrong, where you're not actually going in and helping or trying to find a different way to do it. You're just like, that's the thing that upsets me, is that people are only complaining about, well, I wish they wouldn't bother, right? Because them bothering hurts the Democrats, and
no,
I don't like
mind them.
that.
I don't mind them. I think they have a right to.
Not you specifically, but that's the overall consensus.
But I think
right?
The reality though is, like, their policy is just like, regardless of whether it's good or bad policy, it's just a fantasy, because it's not going to happen, because they're not going to win.
Why aren't they going to win?
Because there's no institutional support for them in terms of.
But do the institutions choose?
We could talk about the issues with, yes, there should be more ability for third parties to break through. I completely agree. You're not. I'm again. The argument here isn't that I don't think third parties should run. I think they have a right to run. I think anyone should be able to vote for them. They should be allowed on the ballot for all states or whatever. My argument is simply with the fact that they don't take it seriously outside of the presidential election. And so
I think that's just not true. Like, not in every city. Obviously, I think it's a ridiculous ask that the Green Party be active in every city, especially if you're not willing to go to the Green Party in your city and volunteer. I think that's just a ridiculous ask, right? Like, is that fair? Because the Green Party is active around the country.
I mean, I'm in New York City, and I don't see any Green candidates on the ballot with any real. And when I do, they're not doing anything. They're just like there. They're not even like, it's not like they don't have the money. No, they're not even like campaigning, period. Like, they're not even going outside and
it's
doing
not
anything.
even about the money. It's literally like, you're like, why can't the Green Party win? Well, they don't have institutional, but institutions, the union doesn't, write our ballots or file our ballots for us, right? So, and I'm not taking away from the importance of institutional support, but at the end of the day, people choose elections, right? Granted, the way that we choose elections is all kinds of messed up. A lot of things get in the way of it being truly democratic, but at the end of the day, what happens is we vote, our votes are counted, and then those counts go through a system that some find arbitrary, that ends up with electoral delegates, and the person that gets more than 200, or depending on the race, that the right number of delegates, that person wins, right? And so when you're like, well, they're not going to win, and I'm not going to help them win, and I'm not going to do anything to help them win, well, why? Like, I literally, like, I'll admit, I worked the Cornel West campaign earlier this year. I'm not anymore. And I get it. Cornel West is a joke, and a lot of people will say things about Harlan Crow and a bunch of other, very dumb stuff that tells me you're a dumb person. But regardless, the thing that I got from people was, I don't want to sign a petition because I don't think anybody else is going to sign a petition, is what it came down to. I don't want to do anything because I don't think I don't have an actual argument, like, for why I don't want to do this. And people are free to do what they want to do. But, like, the thing that's stopping them is that nobody else is going to do it, right? And, like, that's self-defeating. It's circular. It's that's the exact opposite of collective action, right? Like of building a coalition.
Right. All right. I mean, I think I would like to see third parties obviously have more of an impact and gain more seats in whatever office that they run for. And we're on point there. We agree there. There's no disagreement on that.
It's just what are we willing to do to see that happen, other than
I mean,
wait
but
for the
there also has
Democrats
to be
to give us
but
rank choice?
there also has to be like candidates that like I honestly have not come across a Green Party candidate that has excited me, honestly. It's
I
not
mean, it
just
doesn't have to
like
be Green Party, but
I mean
either way, like
I mean
I'm not Green Party.
the fact of the matter is that the most progressive politicians who actually had a chance over the past couple of years have decided to run as Democrats. And they're in office and they're progressives with power. And even Bernie Sanders, who's an independent technically, caucuses with the Democrats because he realizes what needs to be done in order to actually do stuff, have any sort of power even in his office as a U.S. senator. Um, I mean, the squad, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, who just won her primary as we're talking right now.
Nice.
I mean, they could have run as Green Party candidates, but they didn't. They ran as Democrats.
I honestly don't know what point you're making with that, but
No, but I just mean like it's not like I've seen a Green Party candidate or any third party candidate that I've been like, oh man, I really like that person. But they're not going to win because of the party they're attached to. Like, I don't think Jill Stein's any good. I don't think she's that great. She doesn't
you don't
excite
think
me.
Jill Stein is policy-wise better than Kamala Harris? Like just strictly like let's say you got to choose the next president, like by yourself, you would honestly choose Kamala Harris over Jill Stein.
I'm not saying I would do that, but I also am not saying that Jill Stein is someone who I want as president either, honestly.
I mean, like, okay. Okay. I mean, Jesus doesn't run on the Green Party ticket. I'm sorry. Like, anyway, the only other thing I wanted to
I'm
say
not sure.
before
I'm not sure, but like, what do you like about Jill Stein? Honestly, like, I don't.
I mean, I don't like Jill Stein particularly, but she's firmly anti-capitalist, anti-trust. She's for the liberation of Palestine. She's for a one-state solution. She's against American imperialism at large. Like,
I mean, I could name
like,
you. I could name you literally like thousands of leftists who have those same ideals. Why would I choose Jill Stein when I can choose a leftist podcaster who is more in common with me than Jill Stein?
but we're not just talking about who's the most progressive person in the world. Like, okay, sure, but okay, I don't. Again, I don't really understand your
But
point.
my point is simply like like we're getting a little bit off topic, but the general point still is like it's not like there are great Green Party candidates running right now who I hold up in a high regard that I would have voted for if only they had a chance. Like,
Well, I mean,
I
I'll be honest with you, and you can tell me I'm wrong. I would argue that pretty much anyone who claims to be Green Party, you're not going to be excited for based on the fact that they're Green Party.
no,
Any
that's not true at
presidential
all.
candidate is going to have flaws. Any candidate, any politician is going to have flaws, and I feel like if they're not part of the Democratic Party, those flaws are over exaggerated, and their accomplishments / their policy in general, they don't get coverage. So unless you're
I mean,
actually
let's put
out
it this
there
way.
looking for them,
Here, let's use this as an example. Ralph Nader famously ran as the Green Party candidate in 2000. I actually think Ralph Nader's a candidate to get excited for. That's the last time It seems like the
I
Green
think
Party
that, if
ran
we look in the
like
past, right, like people
like
just
Ralph
the same
Nader's.
way
Wait,
we
hold on,
do.
hold on, hold on. But Ralph Nader's someone who he's not just any random. He actually has real accomplishments to his name that makes him a somebody to get excited for. You know he can do something if he actually won. And the only thing holding him back was the party. Like, I don't have that same trust in Jill Stein.
Okay, like getting off of Jill Stein specifically. I guess because I don't want to eat up too much of your time. I know you have vacation going. The only other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is I am all for I am most likely going to vote for Kamala Harris this November. Like, there's very little chance that I won't. It would pretty much mean her moving to the right of where she is on Palestine. That would make me maybe stop. Um, but that being said, I think that some people are going a step too far in uh, as journalists or content creators trying to state a position for Kamala Harris on Palestine that is to the left of the position that she herself states. And I think the danger in that, and this is, I mean, I'm 34. I was 18 for Obama's first run, and I remember I was at an HBCU, and I remember having conversations with people about how he just won't say anything in the campaign, but he gets it. He gets it. He's black. He can empathize with the global South. There's a reckoning coming if we can just get him through this campaign, right? And I remember, like, we were all certain, like, hope, change, all that. And I think people are doing sort of the same thing with Kamala Harris, where they're like, well, she can't say anything during the campaign because she's still in the Biden administration. And that wasn't just her secretary of whoever it was, national security. That was her secretary of national security in the context of the Biden administration, and it's all on Biden. Her position is all on Biden, and we'll get something different after the campaign. And that's not what you do. That's what you do if you want to use the Palestinian cause to help support the candidate and not use support for the candidate to help the Palestinian cause. And it's honestly very frustrating to me to see people doing that. But I'll let you respond. I'm gonna hop off. Thank you
All
for your
right.
time. Love your show.
No, thank you. No, I listen, I enjoy calls like this. I don't think I mean, this is just, we're having conversations. This isn't like a show that has like a million viewers and I'm swaying people. This is just a conversation. And I'm not looking to knock Jill Stein because I don't like her. I'm just talking about general policy. Like, I don't understand, like, what, like, obviously if I could wave a magic wand, I would pick whatever person would institute the most progressive policies and generally help people. But if I can do that, why would I even go with Jill Stein? That's simply the point I'm making. And in terms of what you said at towards the end there, like, I get it, and I don't think that we should be giving Kamala Harris a complete pass. I think I at least mention that she's still part of this administration, just basically as like a addendum, a bit of an understanding about some of the reason why she said this or done this. It's not a pass for her. And I do think people are generally hopeful because it does seem like she's already to the left of Biden on a number of things. I mean, she's already offered more of a look into a potentially positive direction for Gaza. This administration, the America's policy on Gaza. I'm not saying she's going to fix them. I'm not saying she's going to be great on it. I'm not saying stop the protests. Please continue all that. I'm just saying there's a reason to be hopeful compared to what we've got now. And also, I think she's been very responsive. She's been very responsive, I think. Has she screwed up at times? Of course. Again, I'm not saying she's been great. She's not my... If I had that magic wand, I wouldn't be going with Kamala Harris either. But in reality, what we got, I've been pleasantly surprised. I mean, it's very clear that she's listening. That doesn't mean she's going to she's listening. Something that Joe Biden wasn't even willing to do. There's going to be a huge difference in someone of Joe Biden's age, set in their ways, hardcore support for example, Israel, unwavering support for Israel, and someone who's younger, more understanding, willing to listen to other perspectives. That doesn't mean you're going to get exactly what you want, but you're going to get someone who will take what you say and keep it in mind as they create policy. Again, not perfect, much better than what we got right now. We'll do one more phone call, I think. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, man? Hello?
Hello?
Binder.
Oh, hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Sorry, there was an issue with your audio, but I fixed it.
It's Hansi.
Hey, Hansi, how you doing, my friend? What's up?
I had to download Talkatone so I could fucking call without any long distance charging and shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll do Skype next time for you. I promise. I'm just trying to do a little bit of both.
You're a piece of shit. That's what it is, man.
What's up, Hansi? What do you want to talk about?
I'll try to be quick with it. But what's it called? Listen, man.
You better be quick.
Listen, fuck. The thing is, right? Okay, I want to buy into the fucking kayfabe that listen, I'm from Canada, so obviously the election apparently doesn't affect me like directly in that sense. But if I feel an overall thing of the world kind of collapsing and it's gonna trickle down to Canada, I do like have reservation about, you know, I just think, okay, listen, I understand everyone wants to be, because we can't just be doom and gloom, but I also think that, you know, that everyone is like buying into too much of the kayfabe and like ruining their whole leverage by like just totally just giving in to pretending that like all of a sudden like it's disheartening to see a bunch of people. I understand not wanting to like, so I get what they're called, wanting to like stain the fucking, you know, like the fascism as much as possible with having a better fucking candidate, even though like, you know, both of them are pretty much shit to me. But like I just think people are buying into the kayfabe too much. And I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like everyone's being angled up for a disappointment. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's like wrestling in the sense that like you're never going to have a clean finish for your elections ever again. Like once they already established dirty finishes and disputed finishes and all that kind of shit, then like it just feels like that's going to be the common practice throughout the entire thing. And I just don't want people to like go out and then waste time while what to call like when it doesn't really when it won't matter in the long scheme of things, because there's gonna be a disputed finish. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be a clean fucking sweep. I just think it's like just a calm before the fucking storm.
Right. No, yeah.
Am I making? Whenever I give you my theories, I feel like you want to be peaceful with it, but you also want to tell me to fuck off. And
No.
I just listen. I don't want to be. I don't want to be.
Expand a little bit more, and I'll give you an honest.
Okay. Maybe it's because I just and I know people are gonna be like, oh my god, you're comparing a TV show, but like the thing is like I feel like the last season of The Boys literally shows you what's gonna happen, and it basically shows you that
I haven't seen it.
Okay, but can I? But in order to get my point across, I have to kind of spoil it a little bit. Can I spoil it a little bit?
Nope. Find something else to find another analogy, my friend.
Okay. You fucking asshole. Okay, fine. Basically, fine. The wrestling one. Basically, what you're setting yourselves up with, is a situation where you have the NWO Wolfpack versus the NWO Black and White, and it ends with a finger poke of doom, essentially.
And you're saying that's what we got now?
Okay, hold on a second. It's one thing to be completely like, okay, you know what? We have some type of hope. I understand that you need that kind of shit, and I want to shit on that. But I also think that
Hello? Oh no, we lost you. How? My phones are fine. It says you're still on the line. Did you hit mute, Hansi? I lost you. All right, I'm gonna go to another call. Call back, Hansi, and I'll take your call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Ren calling from Oregon.
Hey, Ren, how are you doing? Not much time. I wasn't gonna take another call, but I did. So, gotta make it quick. But how you doing?
Oh, thanks. I've been doing better. Having a bit of a rough pain week. Just is what it is. One sec, I gotta turn off your stream in the background. Something that I'm sure you're happy to know is I think I've permanently killed my Trump impression. I can't just bust out into it anymore. And it feels good to move away from it. No, it feels good. Since 2021.
It was time.
I've been doing it since 2021. I was doing that in the Biden impression. And it's just like, I know that he's probably going to be back even if he loses, but I'm just like, I'm so ready to not have to think about him as much, you know? Like, there was a bit for a while where I was like, you know what, maybe I can pull out the MAGA communist Trump bit or whatever. Maybe I can do something with that. And I was having some other stuff, but I just he doesn't inspire me in the way that he used to.
I see what you're saying.
I got a question for you though.
Sure.
I was watching the Michael Brooks stream today, and
right.
Something that made me think of is obviously I never fucking called in when he was on the show, and I was kind of too young to be watching shows like Majority Report when he was on. But I know that he had this kind of energy that was pretty lighthearted despite what were some pretty dire circumstances, just with populist and broadly leftist politics not being able to be expressed and just bad shit that was going on in the world. How do you keep yourself from getting discouraged, and how do you keep yourself from becoming just totally bitter?
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, this has been easier to answer last year. I got discouraged this year, honestly, and I think people were able to tell. I feel like the the stream, the show, the podcasts, just my general work on social media, just my posts, my shit posting. I didn't do it as much at points. I wasn't as inspired at other points. It was a rough year, honestly. I'm not gonna lie, and it still is. But there's a little bit of hope which wasn't there before for something to change. I think a lot of it is that if you don't if you let it get to you, then there's no movement in any sort of positive direction. And if there's not that, which again, that's what I felt this year, then what's the point? And I don't mean that in a negative or I mean seriously, if you don't think that there's something better on the other side of all this, then for your own sanity, don't
Yeah.
you should step away. And I think sometimes you got to do that
Yeah.
temporarily.
I agree. It
Yeah.
was kind of getting to a point where I was like, it just kind of felt like we were staring down the barrel. Like if Trump had won and things had gotten worse, and God forbid, you know, God forbid the justice that Obama appointed in 2009, you know, the one who has diabetes and some health issues, God forbid she dies, and then we have an 8-1, or sorry, no, a 7-2 court. Like it just felt like if Trump was going to win, that like I was going to spend my entire like working life, like 30 years, just like trying to slowly dig out of the hole that created, kind of in vain. And like at a certain point, it kind of felt like, okay, like I just have to preserve myself so that I have the energy to fight in the future if it's not going to be productive to do it right now.
Right. Right.
And it's like, I don't know, like on a national level, like I'm so relieved, like I'm not in survival mode like I was a couple months ago. Just, you know, being scared about just the future of me being able to live in this country. But like, I kind of feel like once that sort of energy got to me, it's kind of still showed up in like, you know, the way I am with other people.
Yeah.
Can I have like another? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, you gotta. I think it's for the best sometimes, actually, just to step away for a minute. Like
Yeah.
it sort of reinvigorates you when you get back too, because you're like, all right, I could do this all over again. Like previously, honestly, I think just the years of doing this, I've just become extremely desensitized, and I was able to, you know, cover even the crappiest shit without, you know, with being able to just like still have a positive attitude in general. But then like this last year, specifically with Gaza, it was just
Yeah.
like I don't see that right now, and that's not happened in a very long time, if not ever, as long as I've been doing this. And I
Yeah.
just need to step back so I didn't like get drained. And you know, I'm still not back 100%. I'm hoping, like, you know, with a vacation, my first since all this has been going on, and you know, just sometimes you really got to just step away from like the world and live like how people lived before the internet, where like you just
Yeah.
don't know about what's going on everywhere. You just know about what's happening in your community, your neighborhood, your home with your family. And like, I think it's great that we're able to know what's happening around the world. It's super helpful. But I also think sometimes you just need to, for your mental health, for your sanity, just focus on how people lived in the olden days. And then once
Yeah.
you've been rejuvenated, you can then live in the global space again.
20 more seconds and then I'm gonna drop off. I was gonna talk a little bit about a spat I had with this old dude who was like repeating a bunch of shit with like, oh, Tim Walz got on the ticket, you can't put a Jew on the ticket now, and then was like talking about gays for Hamas being like chickens for KFC.
Oh my
I was
God.
gonna talk about that, but I was gonna ask you last week what things are like kind of, you know, in the lead up to the school year with your kid, and like, you know, what that's like nowadays, because I don't have any siblings in school anymore.
Right. Run that question by me one more time. I want to make sure I understood what you were asking.
Sure thing. I was going to ask like how things are with like being in the lead up to the school year, how y'all are doing with that, and I guess like I don't know.
What do you
It's
mean?
not really a question.
I'm sorry. I'm a little bit confused. Like, what you mean? Like, what?
All good. It's not like a COVID related question or anything like that, or anything with like I guess like school board type shit. I was just going to ask, since you're taking the vacation, how things are going with the family and what it's like being in the lead up to the school year. And I'm gonna
Oh,
drop
you mean
off.
like in just general? I'm sorry. I thought you were asking like something like a
Yeah, just in
political
general.
question. Yeah.
No.
No. Yeah. I mean, we're going away because I think it's important to step away from things, regardless of whether you do it for a couple days or a week or however long you can do so. it's the school year is about to start. My son specifically, he's gonna have his schedule very full with all the soccer he's going to be doing, and I will be doing it with him. We'll be practicing probably 4 times a week with his teams. Jeez. Yeah, we're just sort of looking towards that right now. We're totally in like vacation and then ready to go right into school mode the second vacation's over. Like the summer is basically
There's
over.
like 3 weeks left.
Yeah, it's basically over. And the reason we're leaving this late in the year is because we're going to Florida, and Florida is a lot cheaper in August because no one wants to go to Florida in August because apparently it's at its most humid. Yes, and that's something we are willing to do in order to afford it.
Okay. Well, have a good vacation. Hope you have safe travels. Take care.
I appreciate it. Thank you, and looking forward to talking with you when I get back. Taking your calls. All right. All right, folks. That's the calls. Never saw Hansi call back in. All right, Hansi, I'll take your call when I get back. It's not gonna be that long. You're just gonna miss me for the rest of this week. But I mean, you just got a show, so you're just gonna not see me on Majority Report and on Leftist Mafia. And then next week, I will not be doing my own show. Obviously, I am going to try. No promise. I'm not gonna be on the Majority Report either next week. So you're gonna miss Majority Report, me on Majority Report twice. Next week for Leftist Mafia, I am going to try, no promises. I'm going to try to call in, like jump on the stream from my vacation because it's going to be hours before my birthday. My birthday is Friday, August 23rd. So next Friday. And I thought it'd be fun to do that with also it being the DNC and Kamala Harris's speech. I'm not saying I'm even going to make that. I'm probably going to, if I do make it, I'll probably make the super chat section at the very end of the show. But I will, so at most, you will miss one of my regular streams, 2 Majority Report appearances, and maybe 2 Leftist Mafia appearances. I will be out for the rest of this week and all of next week. I'll be back the week of the 25th. And I'll be in full-blown, ready to go, reinvigorated, rejuvenated election season mode for all of you. And honestly, I don't think you're going to miss that much with the DNC. I was worried that I picked the wrong time for a vacation because, the DNC is, if it's a re-election of the incumbent Democratic president, it's nothing. It's kind of like the protest outside would have probably been something. And obviously when I planned this, that wasn't known that was going to happen. But nothing crazy. But then when Biden dropped out, I was worried they would do the fight at the convention. And if there was a fight at the convention, then I would have picked the absolute worst time to leave because that would have been big. That would have been regular nightly coverage Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. But Kamala Harris is the nominee. There's not going to be any fight at the convention. It'll be a little bit more interesting, obviously, than it was just Biden. But it's going to be a general convention from the Democrats, I think. There'll be protests outside. I don't think they're going to be as strong as if it was with Biden, honestly. But yeah, I'm only leaving for a week and a half. You guys should be thinking, damn, only a week and a half and I'm going to miss that much Binder? That's because I see people saying, don't go Binder, come on. I do that much every week. You should, you don't realize what you got till it's gone. Maybe it'll make some of you rethink how you just take me for granted. that I'm here giving you guys 3 separate live shows a week. And, I'm just gone for a week and a half, and you're missing all this stuff because that's how much content I put out each week. That should make you go to twitch.tv/MattBinder and drop a subscription. That should make you go to youtube.com/MattBinder and drop a subscription and or super chat. And that should definitely make you go to patreon.com/MattBinder and drop a Patreon membership. I'm literally just missing one of my regular personal live streams. That's it. It's the Majority Report and Leftist Mafia that I'm gonna end up missing more of. All right, let's people acting like I'm oh yeah, I also wanted to thank Ren for bringing up Michael Brooks, speaking of birthdays. Today's Michael Brooks's, it would have been his 41st birthday, I believe. And I know the Majority Report did a nice Michael tribute show, and I know that because I watched some of it, but I also know that because they had asked me to send over some clips. I sent over just a few clips. They picked, I think, 1 or 2. I don't remember. I think one definitely. The Tea Party, the right-wing Mandela is starting his own Tea Party for America, focus on the family, yada, 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 organization, Patriots for America. I think that's the... that's one of my favorites. So I'm glad that made it. But I've said a lot about Michael over the years. And honestly, being able to be one of the few people who hosted a show with him, and I'm not just talking about the Majority Report either, once a week for years, Michael Brooks and I hosted Matt and Mike Mondays on the Majority Report. When Sam told the story, when Sam's son Saul was born, he needed us to take over. And so for the week or 2 weeks or however long Sam took paternity, we hosted the show. And I think we did okay, but people enjoyed it. And because people enjoyed it so much, Sam gave us, at first, I think it was like every other Monday. And then I think we started doing like every Monday or something like that. And so it was just me and Michael doing the show every Monday. The guests we wanted to have, the segments we wanted to do, and it was I mean, it's not like we were like segment wise, it's not like Sam was holding us back, but like obviously guest wise, there's only so much time in a day and how many guests you could have in a show. And so obviously we were able to get guests that wouldn't normally be on the Majority Report. And hosting that show at Michael, like just working with Michael side by side, right next to each other, just the 3 of us at the time, Sam, me, and Michael. A lot of times, Sam would leave to do Bob's Burgers or something else, and it would just be me and Michael. Working with him was probably one of the most fun experiences of my life. There's so many, like, you guys thought you saw funny shit on air. Like, there is countless stuff of us just riffing that never made it onto air, that never was meant to make it onto air. It was, and obviously he was super smart. And I got to know him personally over the years, talking with him every day for 8 hours a day. His person, like the person he is, the person he was, what he aspired to do, and, his family and things like that, and vice versa with me to him. He was just a great human being. And, it's without a doubt upsetting how not only just that he died so young, but also the year he died inhibited us from doing anything bigger. Anything at all before he died. Like, I'm beyond lucky that he asked me to be on the live Michael Brooks show that he did that February. Early February 2020 in Brooklyn, there was a live Michael Brooks show, and he had me as one of the guests on the live show. And that's the last time I saw Michael in person, because just a month later, COVID hit and the lockdowns happened, and that was that. So I'm lucky that we got to see each other. But like, it sucked how it went down. That it went down at all, but on top of that, how it went down. But this is how life is, and so you take it how it goes. And all things considered, what I got out of my time with Michael, I don't think anyone else. There's not many people. Like even people who Michael might have been, better friends with or whatever. I would say I got to spend like somewhat more quality hours with him, just by the fact of how it is when you're working with someone. You're at work a lot more than you are hanging out a lot of times. So I'm extremely lucky to have worked with Michael, to have been friends with Michael, and to have known Michael, and to be one of the few people who got to host a show with the genius that Michael was, and just the good person Michael was. And yeah, that's I wanted to say that because his birthday, and I know a lot of people are talking about his birthday, and I saw you guys in the chat talking about his birthday, and I think one of the shittiest things that we can look on after all that said is also, damn, what would Michael's reaction have been to what's been going on? Oh my God, the comedy we are missing out on, the smart comedy we are missing out on, because I've always said this, and I heard Matt Leck and Sam and Emma talking about it earlier as well. It wasn't just the impressions with Michael. Anyone could do impressions. Well, not anyone, but there are a number of people who could do good impressions. Michael was a rare combination of being good at impressions, but also so fucking smart that he knew deeply the person who he was impersonating. And that's why his impressions hit so hard. He was just so smart and quick-witted. Like, a lot of people could do a Trump impression. But Michael knew how to do impressions that really got to the core of the person he was impersonating. And he was so quick with the puns, or the joke, or the punchline, or whatever it was, that those three things combined, how quick he was, how smart he was, and how fucking funny he was, just came together, and he was the perfect storm. I mean, he really should have been much bigger than he was. He shouldn't have been hosting a YouTube show. Like, he enjoyed that because he was smart, and he got to showcase, his knowledge of the issues. But he really should have been on fucking, like, he should have been having like fucking comedy specials. He should have been on fucking national television. He should have been on like doing late night appearances. The dude should have been way bigger than he was. All right, let's go to the super chats. I read a few before. Let me get to the ones I didn't. Renee with a few super chats. Matt doesn't drink water. Why don't you marry each other? Pee Wee Herman voice. Mentioned being in a foxhole. It's staged. Renee has a wonderful talent of never adding context to his super chat. So by the time I get to them, they are contextless. There's another Renee super chat. This is going to evolve into deporting people, even U.S. citizens, exile, a part of healthy dictatorship. I know he's talking about Musk and Donald Trump there. So that, spot on, Renee. Yes. read this musical mice super chat. Tylee Meow Lala with a super chat. Thank you. Bay Photo with a super chat. Ilhan Omar wins Anoka County in her district 51% to 48%. 2 counties still outstanding. That was earlier. Ilhan Omar's officially won her re-election campaign. Charlie DeGenemer with a membership super chat, member for 13 months. Thank you, Charlie. Ilhan Omar apparently won. Yes, Bay Photo, Omar wins. Yes, there you go, Bay Photo with the update. And Daniel R. Candace Owens voice, where am I stable lefty at? I think Daniel R. does this every single episode. Over on Twitch. Ooh, got a bunch on Twitch today. Let's see. Amused Mob, resubscribed at Prime. Subscribed for 20 months. Thank you, Amused Mob. D. Durkizzle, subscribed with Prime. Thank you for the new membership. Solidary, subscribed for 1 month at Tier 1. Thank you for the new membership, too. Robot Monkey Cat resubscribed for 24 months at Tier 1. They've been subscribed for 33 months already. Oh, my God. Have a nice vacation. Robot Monkey Cat. Thinking I'm going to be around for 2 more years at the least. Ooh. Really investing in me for the long haul. I appreciate that, Robot Monkey Cat. And a hype train has just started before. Hype train completed at level 1, 64%. Thank you. Valinova used 30 bits to gigantify an emote, and that emote was just a rainbow GIF that just says gay as it's flashing. Thank you, Villanova. And folks, that's Cold Dog. So much blood. Why did Trump say blood like that? Blood. I saw the blood. Very. All right, folks. I truly enjoy doing these streams with you guys, even when it looks like I'm exhausted, and sometimes I am. I have a lot of fun doing it. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy doing Majority Report. I enjoy doing Leftist Mafia. My real hope is that I come back from this vacation feeling 100% rejuvenated. We'll be full blown into election season. Like the summer, the August month is like the calm before the storm. Ooh, I'm going to the QAnon territory here. And I'm hoping to come back and just really sort of an unofficial relaunch of everything. The idea is putting out more videos. The idea is the live streams being more organized and together, getting regular guests back on the show, doing Doomed, end scam economy, launching that newsletter I've been promising all of you. It's all in the works. It's all been in the works, but it's just been so much going on. And then, all the issues I brought up weighing down the whole thing too. But this is I need this. So I'll see you all real soon. It's only going to be a week. And again, I'm not going to be completely, I'm not going off grid. I won't be online as much, but you'll see me on social media, on Twitter or wherever, post every now and then. I'm not going to not pay attention to what's going on next week at the DNC. And if anything crazy happens, which of course with my luck, something will, I will make myself visible. Who should I rate on Twitch? Who's on right now? All right, I see someone say Amy EC3. All right, cool. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention in case you want to go find it. If I could find it, I'll upload it. But last night I was actually thinking about doing. I forgot. You get me for another 5 minutes. I meant to tell the story about last night. So I was actually, while people suggest who to raid, I was actually planning on doing a live stream of the Musk Trump space last night, but my soccer team, I told you guys I'm in 2 separate soccer leagues. My 11v11 team made it into the playoffs. And so I had a game last night. It was the semifinals. And I wasn't going to go because I've been playing pretty shit. I've been good on the 7v7 team. Smaller field. I'm in shape for that. The full field 11v11 was brutal. It was my first time doing 11v11 since I was like a kid on a full field. Minus, when I'm coaching my son's team. First time doing 11v11 with other people my age since I was a kid. And so I was thinking maybe not going and doing the space thing, but I was like, you know what? It's going to be my last soccer game of the summer because my 7v7 team also made it to the playoffs, but the playoffs are this upcoming weekend and I'm not going to be in town. So I was going to do the 11v11. And so I go, like I said, bad season, so I'm not starting. They put me in. We're behind 1-0. Not much time left in the game. I scored the goal that ties it up, and then another player of ours right before the game's over scores the winning goal. So my team's going to the finals this weekend, and I'm not going to be here. And we barely made it into the playoffs. Like there was like 8 or 9 teams in the league, and we were like in the bottom 3 or whatever. And now we're one of the final teams, thankful and because of me, with to get this goal that tied it up. So if I didn't go, I would have fucked my team over. So it's a good thing I did. But what was I gonna say? There was something else I was gonna say. I can't remember now. Oh yeah, so I get home last night and I was still gonna fucking do it. I was still gonna do the stream just late. I was gonna start late into it. But then Al Jazeera and Scripps News reached out to me, 2 separate news outlets. They saw me tweet about the Musk spaces because I tweeted about it while I was walking home and trying to listen to the space, like I said earlier. And so they saw me post about it and they asked me to come on and do a segment on it. So I was up till even when I'm not streaming for you guys, I'm like up doing fucking political related work. I was up doing an Al Jazeera hit, and then early this morning I did a hit for Script News. So yeah, I didn't get to do this stream last night. That was my goal, but I still think we did pretty good tonight. All right, folks, who am I rating? I see Amy EC3. I see. Who's Galactic Streamlord? Riverboat Jack. All right, I'm gonna look right now. I'm gonna close my eyes, and whoever I pick, I picked. Yeah, but actual Jake has a lot of people watching him right now. Let's raid someone who's a little bit on the lower, who's a little bit has lower viewer count right now. Because actual Jake's got like over 200 people watching him. It says Riverboat Jack's got 50. Let's raid Riverboat Jack. Who's Pep Talks TV? All right, I will raid these new accounts when I come back. Let's go with one of the classic Matt Binder raids. Let's do Riverboat. Let's raid Riverboat Jack. Riverboat Jack's looking at the JD Vance photos. We're gonna raid Riverboat Jack. All right, folks. I will see you all really soon. Um, talk to you all in just a week and a half. But before that, on social media.